Okay, and now a review, the first review of the first floor, the work that's been done to date. If you need me to specify this out, draw elevations, etc., let me know, or if your cabinet people are going to put that together themselves, let me know. I will at least make sure that there are available dog washes that will fit within this parameter when I call out this dimension. In terms of the kitchen though, the sink and the dishwasher are going to go here. Through this film I'll be leaving the range and hood here because I haven't taken time to think of alternative arrangements for those. Additionally, notice I'm not showing any tall oven cabinets. Once you have these plans and see them and they're in front of you, you'll probably have some of your own ideas about how to arrange the appliances. But for now, I just wanted to work with this wall here and see what developed with this island when we have the bath cut like this and leave this wall projecting to give us some privacy here. In sizing for this refrigerator, because we wanted to recess it, we wanted to use a standard depth refrigerator, I went to A.J. Madison and drilled down here. This is where the most of the depths are here without the handles. And I think when I finally settled on one, this is what I was working with. This was highly rated, and 29 3/8 is what I was working with here, and 36 1/4 for the total projection with 36-inch width. Putting that particular model together for an example here, and working with your plan, and keeping that 29 3/8, everything behind the doors, because that's where the cabinetry generally will stop. Keeping that behind this existing wall here, there's where the 29 3/8 comes out there at the back of the refrigerator. You're building your own cabinets here, so even if we were to do just this, you can have 27.5-inch deep cabinets all along here if you like. And even if you were to order them, 27 is a fairly orderable cabinet for these big ones, I would think. But when we set it up like that, it leaves 38 1/8 from the front of those handles to the edge of that countertop. And you can see I've actually got that countertop pushed back 3 or 4 inches east, so we're losing some space there to consider. And I haven't changed that. I left that in place because I haven't continued to develop this kitchen up here. But starting from that precept, I would like to see a little more space back there anyway. And so I think recessing the refrigerator, now we're into the office area, and when we push that back where we get 42 or so, and again leaving this here, so if we pull that down, we could still maintain 36 through here and pick up that 4 inches if we like. But now we're into the office here. I have shifted this refrigerator over so that it's not, so you don't have to come completely around the island and get to it. And I've kind of maintained that through this film, or this portion of the design work, is having that front up through this aisle. I've begun with a width of 4'2" here, and really 4 foot is considered nice space in front of a range. So there can be an inch or two picked up here. This was derived though from maintaining about an 18-inch cabinet down here, and because that's back there, this would set up best for brooms and that sort of thing, not really food. And I've even shifted, bringing that out for a 21-inch deep cabinet, which is a little more accessible in terms of even brooms or whatever. And then setting this up with some margins here, we end up with about 4'5" through there. And that part of that is done because I'm assuming maybe this is a chunkier range here. Those chunkier ranges stick out maybe an extra 3 inches beyond the more shallow depth ones. Okay, and then this was actually 24. I'd moved this over to 24, 21 or 24, but because of what probably or might happen down here, I wanted a little bit more margin on this right side of that down there. So I moved this even further into the kitchen. And then these are kind of you can probably have 60-inch island on this bank here. 56 though is a little narrow between if we're going to put seating back here. So we're probably going to need some more space there as well anyway. And probably this could be reduced to 44 like that. Generally that is the clearances going in with this thing. But then picking up and closing off the back of this refrigerator. This is how I began to look at this based upon some of your ideas the other day and what we had going on here. Now these cabinets are shown as 24 deep. Now I think I mentioned somewhere in a part that hasn't been cut that I kept the refrigerator here because I didn't want the person doing the work having to come over here to it. But if we wanted to set up a symmetrical arrangement down through here, we could obviously do that as well. but I have the refrigerator out here without coming around this corner. And remember, at least right now, the plan is to have some seating on this back side. So I have this out here where it's more open to the worker. But alternatively to that asymmetrical arrangement, if you wanted to make that recess, this is a 7-foot wide opening, high enough for this refrigerator to go back. I have these vertical walls as flat 2x4s, picking us a few extra inches. But if you did that, then you have full depth bookcase on either side, and the 16-inch deep cabinets all along the bottom, or open shelves, or whatever you want to do down there, with a consistent countertop across and a consistent cap over. And then this is all just drywall here, and you end up with this here. And you could see that this could probably stand to go up some, and I didn't have the time to color these white, change around some of that arrangement, but obviously that's going to affect how it feels in there. If this is all white up here and this is white, I don't know what you do. Maybe the top and this is white, but you would have to specify that or decide upon that. Some additional dimensions, and I don't know where that wall should end. We need this space back here to begin with, and I don't know that the extra 3 inches does anything. I think that's how I leave it for a moment. And dealing with the space behind the island, then, remembering we have some space up here we can work with, because 56 is a little narrow. So I have left that space at the top, left that 48 inch, and shrunk this down a few more inches. 9 is kind of the bare minimum underneath here, but I've left 14 to the back side of the panel to get this 60 1/4 here. When these chairs are shown as these stools are shown as if someone were sitting, this is how they are when someone's sitting in them, and 37. So that's about as tight as I think we can get back there. At this corner here, that's still a decent clearance through there, but you can tell that visually and otherwise it's in the road. Those chairs could not be there, those stools could not be there, or they could be pushed under, but I've elected to trim that corner off and go with more of an arrangement like this. You can see that brings us down to 4 seats though at that island, but that was because this thing is setting up here. Now this is, I think this is about a 40-inch circle. This hall is 36. You come down through here, so I'm looking to maintain 36 anyway. And now, since we only have 4 at the island, I've changed it around a little bit further to get even more clearance, because this is going to be, considering to go this way you have to go in this way, this is going to be the bigger path through here, so that needs to be pretty wide. And we still have 4-6 here, which is really far from here. So in the final permutation, depending on what you do down here, we want to bring this island out a little bit further, bring this down closer to, just lose another 3 or 4 inches off of that 54. In designing this with the coffee maker or whatever else is going to happen over here, you pretty much are probably the most suited to put that together, what you want there. These coolers are available in a variety of depths. This is a 24 shown here if we use a single. This is a 36 setting up in the middle. And maybe you want 2 of them, 2 singles on each end, and those are available in 18. Marvell makes some, and other people as well. Shifting this view a little bit, I just set this up for now with a 36-inch wide cooler and cabinetry on each end and glass door cabinetry across the top. All of this whole kitchen needs design in terms of all these elevations. So if I need to do that, let me know, and I will look at it more intensively along with you. Right now though, showing about a 9'8" wide here so that we can get up another 30-inch cabinet on this bank here, so that this island isn't too wandering out over here. And that would allow you, you have 12-inch on this side, that really can't change. I mean, this is a spin cabinet here. I suppose if you could go to blind cabinet here and have a 24-inch wide here, and maybe a 24 here and another 24 here. But I've shown it where you have another 30-inch base here. That brought that door opening down, or this, at least the part through here, down to 9'8". And this is where I was at this point then, in this portion of the design work, knowing that probably I would bring this over some more. I'd like to see this go down to the 21, get this refrigerator over a little bit further, but it begins to change things down here. I'm going to zoom out again, and looking at that sunroom dinette, and we discussed this to start with, if we want to put a desk on that side, which doesn't seem like a terrible idea if someone's going to need that or use that. I mean, this is wide enough here if we set the desk up under the window that you can have, you know, a file drawer here. But even with that seat underneath the desk, there's not enough room for the table to be shifted this way and have more room up at this end. So I've pushed that table down that way and left the desk in place. Additionally, I'm starting to reflect here that I would like to eliminate that wall cabinet if we think we can get away without that wall cabinet there. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But if we can do without that wall cabinet here, I'd like to leave these walls as about 46 or 8-inch high walls, and maybe there's a straight beam, probably a straight beam that comes across here and carries that crown mold across, and then the ceiling goes up on this side, and possibly there are a column or two here. I haven't drawn these elevations or even really looked at this from a camera type view for any of this stuff here. The ceiling in there is 9 foot high, so if you build these cabinets yourself, you can have some flexibility, and instead of having it, you know, either down 12 or down 18, you could have it closer to down 15, the top of all these cabinets. Over here, I would think that this is just softened across here, and then the crown is carried around and carried around. And then here, what happens here is these are walls, there's no casing on the bottom, these are just solid walls that go down with these caps on top. Maybe these match the countertops, maybe they are wood like your trim, but that kitchen height will have to be decided, that 90 or 95 or 93, whatever it's going to be. And then over here, these are walls that go down about 46 inches, come up about 46 inches with caps either to match the countertops or to match your woodwork, white or otherwise. And at the top, then there's just the minimum beam to carry what we need to carry there, but also to carry that crown across here. So for this portion of the film, I just want to end this by talking about some of this appliance. Considering that we'll probably have the sink and the dishwasher there, we need to decide, do we want to put a cooktop in here and then have this as either tall ovens or an under the counter type oven. Putting the cooktop in the island doesn't really leave us an opportunity for a second sink in here. If I had a full range here, maybe there's a pot filler on the wall to keep some of the traffic out of this way, and then a sink at this end to set up there. But in terms of a tall oven though, this wall could go all the way up, but then we lose our opportunity, because right now this, I'd like to see this just wrap around. I'm showing with a wall cabinet, but I'd like to see that low and have that clear through there. But this is things to think about in terms of how to arrange these appliances. The full range is always going to be the most efficient kind of cooking arrangement, and I don't think this is an overly large kitchen, particularly since we're talking about a 4-bedroom home, if that egress work is done in the basement. Nevertheless, I will be returning to this for several hours. There's a few other things that I personally wanted to look at to see if some improvement could be made here or there. But I wanted to get this far along to give you some things to think about and work with. So I think I asked just a couple questions through this film, and the rest should occur to you naturally. Thanks, and I'll be in touch shortly.